Hey, internet depending, this might be the Etch Play Weekly live show. Who can even say at this point anymore? Is it a podcast? Is it a video? Is it even live? The answer to all those questions is hopefully yes.
Maybe.
Maybe. It's the 17th of March 2022. It's St. Patrick's Day and it's nice and sunny outside where we are. Hope it is for you too. Thanks for tuning in. And bearing with us through the technical difficulties. Hello in the chat to Ben and to Pete and to Little Oliphant. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to do our usual thing. We're going to talk about some of the biggest news from the world of games. We're also going to be showing off some gameplay. We're doing Elden Ring today, so stick around for that. We've got a little clip of that later on. And then actually we're going to try and play another game later as well. We're going to try and play some Dicey Dungeons and have a little chat about launching ports with Ben Joy. So if you like Dice or Dungeons or Ben Joy, stick around because all three of those things are coming up very soon. We've been off air for a couple of weeks and I guess we wanted to start by acknowledging that and really, I guess, kind of addressing the situation in Ukraine. It felt right to us to take some time away and to let the focus be on what was happening there. What's happening there is obviously still awful. It's not over by any stretch of the imagination. War is obviously tremendously sad, and I think it's affected all of us, although our issues personally are obviously nothing compared to what they're going through in Ukraine and the people of Ukraine. Today we're going to be focusing on other stories from the world of games, but we did want to say and take the opportunity to say that we stand with Ukraine and Ukrainian people. If you have the opportunity to do so, or the means to do so, and you can do something to help, please consider it. I know that times are hard for everyone right now, but if you can afford a charitable donation or something like that, please do so. We'll try and put a link in the Twitch chat if you're watching live so you can find some resources and ways to help. Ty, do you want anything to add to that, or should we move on to brighter subjects?
No, I think you said everything that needs to be said with that. I would like to highlight especially the indie game bundle that is being hosted on Itch right now, which I think is kind of a great thing that the games industry is doing, and I guess in a way can be our Games for Good for this week. They've raised more than $5 million already to support the people of Ukraine, which I think is so great, and it really does show that, you know, the games industry is more than just a bunch of people playing games. You know, we're a community and we care about each other and we try and do whatever we can to help each other out. So I think that's really great, and yeah, we'll put a link in the chat if you want to. There are over, I think, 900 indie games that you can get for $10. I mean, even if it wasn't for a charity, it's a really great thing to get if you like games. Steal. So exactly. Yeah, just that from me.
Cool. Yeah, Ty, you can drop a link in chat while I talk about our very first news story, which is a little bit of a celebration. It's a bit of happy news to balance things out a little bit, I guess. It's 10 years since Journey was first launched. This game originally came out for the PlayStation 3 and was then remastered for PlayStation 4. And Journey's really good. So really, the news story here is just, hey guys, 10 years of Journey. What an amazing game it was. It really kind of pushed boundaries in terms of, you know, the discourse that there's always been about whether games can be art and how game boundaries can be pushed and expand the definition of what games can be. I'm a big Journey fan, and if you've not played it yet, now is a great time to play it. There's also a really cool Spotify, well, not just Spotify, a really cool album that you can hear on Spotify and I guess other places as well, where they've redone the soundtrack with the London Symphonic Orchestra, which is a good listen as well if you like the soundtrack or if you like orchestral music at all. Next news story. Nintendo have announced plans to open a theme park as part of Universal Studios Hollywood. You might remember us talking on the show previously about they've done this very thing in Japan, and it's open now in Japan. So this will be in Hollywood, be part of Universal Studios, be like a section of the park basically, but a Nintendo world. There'll be Mario themed stuff there primarily, but also little kind of, I guess, cameo appearances from other Nintendo characters from classic Nintendo games. And yeah, I mean, really, we're putting this out there because I think we're manifesting this. We want to go to America. We want to travel to this theme park. We want to ride the Mario themed rides. What, you up for it, Ty?
I hope Dan is watching.
Yeah, you up for a trip?
For sure, for sure. I think it's always great when games can kind of influence culture beyond just our computer screens, and it's great to see that, Nintendo's always been a family favorite, something that everyone can get around. I myself am quite a recent, I guess, player of Nintendo, having grown up mostly on PC, but I love kind of everything that it stands for. And my God, if I can go and see something Animal Crossing themed over there, that's all I need.
Yeah.
Just take me there.
I want to ride a Yoshi in real life. That's all I need. Just give that to me in roller coaster form, and I'm there. Our next news story is about a developer, or a development studio, I should say, called The Initiative. You might have heard of them. They are working on the reboot of Perfect Dark for Microsoft, which is expected to launch directly onto Game Pass. Analysis being done by Videogames Chronicle suggests that the company has lost approximately half of its staff in the last year. This is a kind of huge wave of departures that includes several senior members of the team. As I mentioned, they are kind of a new studio. They're completely created from the ground up by Microsoft. They didn't exist a few years ago. And they've been tasked, obviously, with rebooting a relatively beloved franchise. I mean, game dev is hard. We know that much. It sounds like this one might not be going so well. The game was expected to launch sometime next year at the earliest anyway, but according to some of this reporting, it could end up being much further away because, I mean, this is a symptom or a sign that maybe things aren't going to plan. It might need to go back to the drawing board a little bit. Hopefully, things get figured out there and we get a great new Perfect Dark game, but it remains to be seen. What do you make of this, Ty? I'm guessing you don't think this is going to come out in 2023 anymore?
I think that it would be great if it did, but I guess we'll see. Probably not very likely. It's always a bit worrying when you see a lot of these departures from an upcoming game. I think we've seen something similar with, I think Vampire Masquerade has had a bit of a similar story where, a lot of people are just leaving, senior people are leaving, and it does kind of make you question about the future of the game. Is something going on that's going to prevent the game from ever being released? Is there something that, we need to know about, that something bad going on? Or is it just a case of bad luck, that coincidence that just happened to affect kind of the studio? So, fingers crossed for them, but I guess we'll see.
Yep, and although it's not perfect, Halo Infinite did come out eventually, and that had a similar road to launch. So if anyone can reach into their deep pockets and make it happen, I guess it is Microsoft. So we'll see if it turns out okay. Speaking of Halo Infinite and Microsoft games in general, actually, because Forza won as well, we wanted to highlight and celebrate the winners of the 2022 Video Game Accessibility Awards. We love doing this on the show. We love celebrating stories that really are about how great games can be and what a force for good they can be in the world. So I can read out some of the awards here. Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy won an award. Before Your Eyes won an award, which was an Etch Play favourite last year. And Life is Strange True Colours as well. They all took home accolades. And there's a variety of categories that were awarded for quite specific things, really. This is really about highlighting, key advances in technology. So Forza Horizon's win, for example, is about AI assistance. Halo Infinite won multiple awards, both for their clear text options and for their training grounds. And Before Your Eyes, which I mentioned, won their award for input reduction, which makes sense. It's a game that you can play with very minimal input compared to many games that require a lot of sticks and buttons. So yeah, congratulations to all the winners of that. We really appreciate you guys taking the time to make games more accessible, more open to everybody, because we genuinely believe that the more people that can play, the better, and our industry is improved by the more people who are able to enjoy the fruits of everyone's labour. So well done to all the nominees and to the winners. Ty, have you got anything to add to that?
Not really. I think, like you said, it's great to see something like accessibility being recognised, because it's so important for our industry to take us further, to make games better for everyone. The more people that play these games, like you say, the better these games become, the more we're connected in our community, and it's just great that people are starting to recognise that. I know there's a lot of people in our industry who work really hard to make these things happen, to put accessibility on the radar for big game companies, and it sounds like it's working, because we've got some really big names in that list, and it's just great to see. Really great.
Agreed. That's pretty much the end of the news. There is one more story we'll talk about in just a second. Before we move on, I just wanted to mention that we do a weekly roundup every Friday over on our blog at etchuk.com/play. If you like hearing about gaming news, or you like hearing our opinions about what we've been playing recently, it's a great way to, I guess, read that in your own time. There will be one tomorrow, so if you like this, if you like the show, if you like any of this kind of news segment, make sure you check that out every Friday, and yeah, get even more content from your Etch Play friends, me and Tyre included. We'll both be writing for it tomorrow.
Yep.
Last news story then, and I moved it because it's going to tie into our video today. Elden Ring has become the biggest new IP launch since 2016's The Division. It shifted 12 million units, which is absolutely enormous for a game that you would think of as being relatively niche. Despite Dark Souls' popularity, it took Dark Souls like 4 years to reach 12 million units, and it's taken Elden Ring about a month, if that. This is also the biggest game launch of any kind since Call of Duty Vanguard. So it's really, really big numbers. Congratulations to everybody involved at From Software and the publishers. It's paid off. You know, they've invested heavily in this new franchise, and it's become a real phenomenon. Have you played it yet, Ty?
I haven't myself, but I watched my partner play it.
Right.
He completed it in about 5 days.
Wow, okay, so he was just all in. He was like, don't disturb me until I'm finished.
All in. And it's really great just to see... Obviously, I'm not a player of Souls games, but seeing the differences just from watching someone from like the way that they still have that Dark Souls and Bloodborne and like that DNA, but it's a huge game. It's open world. You can literally go anywhere you want. You can do what you want. It made me almost want to play it. Yeah. But I'm not a person who likes challenge, so that's probably not going to be on my case anytime soon. But it looks great. It looks really great.
And maybe our video today will sway you, because we're about to throw to a pre-recorded segment. This is about 5 minutes of myself and Ben Joy taking a closer look at Elden Ring. And I mean, we wanted to talk about why it was such a huge hit, but actually what ended up happening is I kept dying and Ben Joy kept mocking me for it. So enjoy this, and we'll be back in about 5 minutes time to talk about Dicey Dungeons and ports and all sorts of other games. So stick around, don't go anywhere, and I'll see you in a few minutes. Bye.
Bye.
It's a beautiful day in Limgrave, and I sure hope nothing murders me. This is Elden Ring, and I am joined by Ben Joy. Say hello, Ben.
Hello. How's it going, Adam?
I'm pretty good. Look at this tree.
That's a beautiful tree.
It's a pretty good looking tree. I thought I'd have a nice little stroll, and we would maybe go and have a look at the tree. This is Elden Ring. Like I say, it is the newest release from Software. Famous for games like Dark Souls and Bloodborne, games that are famously hard, and I am not very good at any of these sorts of things, which you will clearly see here. This is kind of near the beginning of the game. There's like a little bit before this, but we're really early on. Obviously, if you're super sensitive about spoilers, you might not want to watch it at all, but we're not gonna get very far. I'm gonna get killed by pretty much the first things I encounter. Let's talk to this old man.
I feel like a lot of people were saying that on Twitter, that people were being very good about spoilers, that even though there was a lot of Elden Ring stuff being posted, there was nothing really spoilery, which is unusual for anything that is going out into the public these days. So,
I mean, the game has become an absolute phenomenon. Like, Dark Souls obviously has become hugely influential, but Elden Ring, from a sales perspective, has done incredible numbers, way more than I think anyone really anticipated for a title which is kind of niche, I guess, in some ways. It's like, it's not FIFA and it's not Call of Duty, but it is in that kind of echelon in terms of how much it's managed to sell. You'll see little hints here and there from like other characters, other players who've been around this world. These are messages on the floor from other players that have been left for me to find. I'm playing as a character, I can't remember what he's called, he's a prophet or something. He's got a wooden board stuck around his neck, and I've got a spear, and I've collected some fruit. So I'm getting my 5 a day. That much is, that much I can do. I can collect fruit.
I mean, if you're going to go exploring and, fight and stuff, you want to have a belly full of fruits. So you see those... Yeah, those little ghosts are other players who are playing at the same time as you. You get little glimpses of other people who are playing at the same time. Obviously, he was having fun on a horse.
There's a horse
They're
right
all
here.
laughing at you, like you're being a chump on your 2 legs. You're riding around on a horse with 4.
Okay, it's telling me to cast a spell, and I can change with the D-pad. This is on the Xbox Series X, by the way. And this guy is not friendly. This guy on a horse
like
wants
it.
to kill me.
You've got a stick weapon.
Try and
compared
stab
to
him.
your Little spear.
When you watch like high-level players play Dark Souls and similar things, they're obviously better than this. Oh, yeah, definitely better
you're
than
not
that.
doing very well.
They're definitely better than that. But they make it look so easy. They make it look like, oh yeah, you just like do a little roll, you do a little dodge, and then you get in there and you stab them. In my experience, you maybe pull off one good roll, and then the enemy just turns around and stabs you to death anyway. So that was a death. But we're back at
Ever seen
Lingrave.
anyone roll in a real fight? I feel like I feel like in games, like the tactic is always like roll. I'm going to do a roll to get away. I'm going to do a roll to get into you. I don't think I've ever seen a real life fight where I've seen someone do a genuine roll. Maybe people should be doing that. I don't know. Maybe games has got it
maybe
right.
that's the secret to combat effectiveness. I'm kind of hoping this person's going to be like, by the way, press B to kill the man on the horse. But I don't think it's that kind of game.
Oh, I didn't realise this was the kill horse button.
I mean, he's talking a bunch of absolute nonsense. There he is. You can see him down there, look, just strolling around, waiting for me to come along. Maybe we'll try and go around him this time. Whenever this person stops talking, I will see if I can walk around him and go somewhere else.
Grace's guidance holds the answers. It will lead you tarnished to the.
I mean, my character is blindfolded, which I feel like is
Not
unnecessary showboating. Like, dude, you're not winning any of these fights. Like, even if you weren't wearing the blindfold. Wearing the blindfold is making it extra difficult. Okay, so let's get some of these flowers, and let's walk over here. I mean, see that? That's more my speed. There's my foe, some kind of sheep.
I really hope this thing kills you.
No, I've got this. Yeah.
You.
Elden Ring champion. Look at those thin beast bones. That's my reward.
Wow, big man over here.
Yeah.
Got
No, this
the
guy's got
fence
no
of
idea that I'm here.
If someone was
Oh no!
and it had
Oh no!
blam. Oh yeah, straight up rolling.
Yeah, he's chasing me. He's right behind me. Run!
Is rolling quicker than running?
I don't know. It
Using
feels
all your
quicker.
all your year 3 gymnastics practice on this.
Get inside. Get inside. Get inside.
The horse can't go. Oh, maybe it's a pretty big horse. Maybe it can't go through there. Is that horse destroying the wall?
Oh, he's inside. This is not a full building.
Oh yeah. This dude is angry. What did he do?
Yeah, he's mad. Maybe he remembers that I stabbed him in his horse torso earlier. He's
Maybe.
not the forgiving kind.
I don't think
No.
you're gonna get past this.
That's
Why
it.
would you drink that so slowly?
I thought it was gonna heal me. I didn't think he was gonna stop for a casual drink.
Oh, it's really sad that I'm getting absolutely murdered here, but you've got to get that refreshing at the product
Oh,
place
man.
in Elden Ring.
Yeah,
Like, we might not sell enough copies of this game. We better
get some
better
product
take
placement in
some
there.
deals with Coca-Cola.
Hey, welcome back. You're watching the Etch Play weekly live show, and I'm your host, Adam Burt, and I think I'm joined by Ben Joy. We're besieged by technical issues. There's a picture of Ben in front of me. Ben, you might be on mute. Are you there? Ben? Ben! Oh, man. Live shows, eh? Who would choose this life? Who would choose it? Alright, well, in the meantime, I'm going to start playing Dicey Dungeons. Hopefully Ben Joy will resurface at some point in the near future, because he's got some interesting stuff to tell us about game launches. And we're talking about Dicey Dungeons today because they are hoping to launch a mobile version of their game very, very soon. The designer Terry Kavanagh, who is on on Twitter has announced that you can kind of apply to play the game on iOS and Android, but not yet currently out for the public. We are going to play the Steam version, and I love this game, so I'm just happy just to play. So I'll play it, and then you guys can enjoy me watching. I don't know what's going on with Ben, but let's just keep going. I get to choose a class. I can choose warrior or thief or robot. I'm going to start with the warrior because I think that's probably the most basic class. If you've not seen Dicey Dungeons before, if you've never played it, it's a roguelite, is how I would describe it, where every time you start a run, you unlock abilities and you roll dice to decide whether you can use them or not. This character is called Lady Luck, and she kind of presents it like a game show. But we'll see how we get on here. Inevitable failure, eh? Sounds like me. So the dungeons are like this. You get to move around. We are a warrior. We've got 24 health, and we level up after we've had a little fight. So let's get straight into our first battle against this gardener. Bets in the chat on whether I'm going to win this run or not. So you can see this is a very basic move. I get to put a dice in here, and I can do 4 damage with the sword. I can also re-roll a dice if I want to, which would give me a different number, but I've got no other abilities that I can use that with at the minute, so I'm just going to end my turn and let that be the end of it. Looks like Tyre might have joined, but I...
Oh, my camera is in a different place.
Tyre, you've moved camera and you're back. Welcome back.
Hello, I'm going to try and place myself in the
Yeah,
place
that's
where
cool.
I'm supposed to be.
People at home can see you, so that's a benefit over what we had with Ben.
With Ben. Yeah. Oh, I think I'm going the wrong way now. Oops. Well, very luckily, Ben did some great preparation, so I can take over.
Cool.
And give you some nice, fun research about porting games. Thank you, Ben, for your notes. Sorry to steal your thunder. Awesome. So, yeah, it's interesting to think about porting games because there's so many different platforms that you can have a game on and other platforms that you can move it to. So, interesting things about kind of porting from console to mobile is it's easier to scale a game from mobile to desktop because you have more simplistic controls that you can kind of level up kind of for the bigger screen, but it is a harder sell than going from console to mobile because people generally have an idea about mobile games and kind of what they are and how they work. So, you know, if someone said, hey, we're moving Candy Crush to Xbox, most people probably would be a bit like, oh, that's a bit weird. That's not something I'm interested in.
I'm up for it. I want to play it.
It'd be great. We had a conversation yesterday about Candy Crush specifically, you know, and you know, mobile can be quite casual, and most games on kind of PC consoles, they are a bit more hardcore. They usually have a lot more mechanics to get people kind of really invested into them. But what is interesting is that, you know, Sony announced in mid-2021 that they really want to explore bringing kind of PlayStation IPs to mobile to complement the AAA titles that they have. So one thing that they said was, you know, PlayStation has a huge catalogue of diverse first-party IP that can transition to smartphone gaming and complement our AAA games and live service games. We're exploring the mobile market with some wonderful PS franchises, so please stay tuned. So really what that says to us is that they see this as a way of reaching millions more players due to the huge mobile market. And, you know, the mobile market is enormous. You know, there are people making billions out of games like Candy Crush, for example, very popular one. Out of games like, there's one that I keep seeing that I've actually have played. I think it's Merge Mansions or something like that. You know, those games that you see everywhere, they are breaking in the cash, so it makes sense that these big companies really want to kind of grab onto that, and it seems that Microsoft is similarly looking to go towards that way as well. You know, last year they've partnered with a Chinese studio called Timmy Studios, I think that's how you say it, who are renowned for, you know, Honor of Kings, which is a really big mobile game, and Call of Duty Mobile as well. So it looks like, people are really recognizing the opportunities that there are in the mobile space, including these big corporations like Sony and Microsoft. And, when you're porting, I think it's really interesting when you're porting the other way, so from console PC to mobile, is really companies have kind of two main aims. The first of which is, to get your existing players to engage with you on another device. That's really great to keep people playing, to give them a game when they're not at home. So an example of this is, for me personally, is Fallout Shelter. I love Fallout Shelter. I play it on my phone all the time, and that's kind of an extension of the general Fallout IP, which until then had basically just been on PC and consoles. And that gets, your existing audiences interacting with you on a completely different mobile device, getting kind of what we call the extended experience. They're really interacting with the entire IP on so many different touch points, and mobile can be a really great way for them to do that. But another aim is to, attract new people to that IP. There are people who probably play games like Fallout Shelter that had never heard of Fallout before or weren't interested in it before. And that is a really great way to expand your audience, get new people to maybe consider your other platforms as well. And it really does have a lot of opportunities, both commercially, but just in terms of community building and expanding your IP and things like that. But it's important to remember that, mobile players in general are not the same as console players. They are often more casual. So the way that you market to these people needs to be a bit different. You need to understand their motivations for mobile gaming. For your existing players, a way to attract them can be useful to think about, playing games wherever you are, anywhere you go. It's even better than if you're just stuck on your PC or stuck on your console. You can take your Fallout Shelter with you on the bus, on the train, to the doctor's office, etc., and kind of getting some of that messaging out there. I don't know why I keep using Fallout Shelter as an example, but I think that's my favourite example.
Just love Fallout.
Oh my god, I love Fallout. It's just such a good example for this as well. And, you really want to make sure that you're giving a true representation of what the game is going to look like on mobile, because if you're converting a PC, a console game into mobile, they are not going to be equal. So it's really important that you're as honest as you can be with your marketing. Don't reuse old trailers or screenshots. You need to show people exactly what the game is actually going to look like. Take the time to really show them what they can expect. Ideally, people understand that mobile is very different to console, so no one's going to expect an identical experience. So it's good to kind of have that there. And yes, Dan, Fallout Shelter was so addictive. I'm still playing it, and it's been, 6 or 7 years? They get you good with that game. And of course, you can still use key art, you can still use illustrations and things like that, but it's really important to be as honest as possible about the limitations of what a mobile experience will be compared to something that's on console, potentially, or PC, or like a bigger platform there. Social is a really great place to talk about mobile games. Ads on social, I'm sure we've all seen these games being advertised all the time. My favorite example is, I've forgotten the name of it, but it's a game where you basically match things, and there's this really random background story of this girl and her grandma who, for some reason, at some point gets arrested, and it's never explained why that happens. And those ads are really good, because the entire time I'm just like, what did she do? What did the grandma do? I need to play this game and find out. So ads are a really great way to reach people on mobile devices, because people are spending a lot of time on social platforms when they're on their mobiles. So pushing that budget to those channels is really important. And you've got a really great opportunity there, because players can see the ad on their mobile, buy the game right there and start playing without having to move from where they are, without having to do much apart from clicking on their screen. So it can be a really great funnel to get players into your game through that way. And if you want to know more about, what is really happening in the world of mobile, having a look at the competitors that are on there, seeing what they're doing, they're likely not going to be the same competitors that you're working against on consoles. They're going to be a lot of other types of games, genres of games, from different companies using different kind of tactics. So it can really help you with, understanding what players of similar games are likely to have as their expectations, having a look at their communities, getting an understanding of what their kind of player types, their player archetypes are, because that can really help with messaging. With Dicey Dungeons in particular, so Ben very kindly has actually looked at this game and what they've been doing, so thank you again, Ben. Dicey Dungeons itself doesn't seem to have done a lot of promotion around this kind of move to mobile, to iOS and Android. They are running a mobile beta test at the moment, but it's a bit of a struggle to find, surprisingly. You would think that, if they're really trying to push this new marketing beat, this really exciting kind of development, that would be a little bit easier to do. Terry Kavanagh himself, who I'm guessing is the developer, because I'm very prepared, has a very active Twitter. He's got over 67,000 followers on Twitter, which is really good. And perhaps what he's doing is he's really relying on the word of mouth to kind of get the hype about this move to mobile for Dicey Dungeons out. It'll be interesting to see what happens after the beta in terms of marketing. Are they going to really push it towards the actual release? Are they just biding their time? So it's interesting to see that. There is no landing page, it seems like, but it would be really good if they could set up one, because that'd be a really good place to post information about the game, store links, updates, community links, getting the word out. So it'd be really interesting to see if that's something they're planning to do, or whether they've, for whatever reason, decided not to this time. That would be just, for us as marketers, just interesting to see.
I think I love this game, and I think Terry's great. He's charmingly lo-fi when it comes to promotion. He's got this community that he's built up around himself of people that follow him on Twitter and engage with him and that kind of thing. But he's almost just like a one-man. Obviously other people were involved in this game, and Dan's rightly pointing out the music comes from an artist called Chipsel as well, who's popular in their own right. But it is a kind of a word of mouth, and he's like, I've made this thing, I think it's cool, if you like it, have it, if not, I'm not that bothered whether you buy it or not, which I think is cool. But it's definitely an interesting, like you say, he's definitely leaving things on the table. He's not really aggressive about the way that he promotes this game, or really any of his games, but I do think he's a fascinating character, and obviously a great developer. I'm having a pretty good run here so far. I don't know if you've been paying attention, if you've been reading Ben's notes, but I've been absolutely crushing all the other enemies in this dungeon so far. Got a pretty good build at the minute with a broadsword and a shovel and a healing crystal. I like a bit of healing, it's good. And I've got the reroll as well, which is the warrior's innate ability, which is helpful. My special allows me to double an action, which I'm going to do right now, because I'm going to heal myself doubly before the battle ends, and then I'm going to beat this witch to death with the shovel.
Hey,
it's Dicey Dungeons.
you win.
Let's have a look in this treasure chest. Oh, okay, interesting. 6-shooter. You always have to balance out what you take into battle, so you have like a backpack of things you can't use, and then you have to choose. You have to be able to fill these slots basically with things from here. So there's a bit of a risk reward going on there. Let's eat an apple or two and head to the next level, shall we?
I do love the art style, like the whole vibe of the game.
Oh yeah, the vibe is brilliant. I mean, I just love spending time in this game, and it's so Moorish because it's all a little bit luck based. Like you can do a lot to influence your build and your run, but ultimately you are at the mercy of the dice. So here, for example, Not a great roll straight out of the gate. I've not got very many high numbers, and I need high numbers to do high damage with my broadsword and shovel. So I'm going to re-roll one of those. That's a bit better. I could bump it, however, I'm going to see if I can get an even better one. One more try. Okay, terrible.
Ooh, you're going to get all fours.
Let's use our bump, which we can use twice to get ourselves a 6, because on 6 this does an extra status effect, which is weaken. We can do that, and there's no need to do anything else. I'll end my turn there. There are lots of characters, and they all play quite differently, which is quite enjoyable actually. You might have seen me in the past do a witch run at Halloween with the witch character, who is very unique. My favourite is the robot actually, but I didn't want to play the robot today because it's a little bit, not advanced, but it's different to the way that most of them play. It's like a blackjack style stick or twist, how many numbers you get, and you can go bust and end up with nothing. Which is adds an extra layer of gambling-based fun. I mean, that's the message here. Gambling is fun.
Gambling is fun.
Gambling is fun. Let's give ourselves another 6 with the shovel, and then let's see if we can... I might as well heal myself with the 1, get myself back up to full health, see if we can get a higher number for our broadsword attack. Yes. Make that into a 6. Do ourselves 8 damage. And end our turn. Yeah, it's a good game, and I think what you're saying is really interesting. And there's obviously, like, we see a lot of games that maybe go from one platform to another, like they come to the Switch after they've come to major consoles, or sometimes we see games that have come out in a traditional release and then become Game Pass games, which is almost the same sort of thing. You know, it's not a new platform launch, but you almost have to treat it like a relaunch. You know, because it's a whole new audience potentially that are going to have access to the game, and yeah, I think it's interesting. This game is actually also on Game Pass, so it's already been through this process. That they launched it on PC, and then they were like, let's put it on the Switch, and they put it on the Switch, and they're like, let's put it on Game Pass, and they put it on Game Pass, and now like, let's just have the whole pie. Let's put it on mobile as well. Why not? You know,
the whole pie.
Let's get it to every single device on the planet, and I hope it does well, because I think it's a great game.
I mean, I'm convinced. I love anything kind of like a little bit, I don't want to say time wasty, but you know what I mean? Where you're kind of sitting and you're just playing along. Like, I really love Loop Hero for this, where you're just kind of chilling. You just go around the loops. You don't really worry too much about, you know, reaction times or anything like that. You're just getting through the turns, seeing how you're going. So
yeah,
I need to pick it up.
I considered playing Loop Hero today on the show because I wanted to play something that I would enjoy, but it's a little bit more casual, I guess, in terms of involvement. The other game I've been playing recently, which I think we might stream it at some point soon, actually, is Vampire Survivors. Fantastic minimalistic game that I would love to show off, but it does take about half an hour to play, so it's a bit too long for the show.
Might be a good video.
Yes, it might be a good video. Stay tuned, and we'll see if we can do that. Do you have any more notes from Ben J, or should we wrap things up for today's stream?
I think we're good to wrap up.
Cool.
Yeah, lots of exciting thoughts there. Recently, the last thing I want to say is one of my favourite games has been re-released yesterday, and that is Paradise Killer by Kaizen. It's a great game. It's now out on consoles, and it's also out in Games Pass. Previously it was just out on Steam, so it's going to be really interesting to see how that affects their numbers, because they didn't just re-release on these platforms, they've actually added a lot of extra content to the game. They've done a brand new B-side soundtrack for the re-release as well, and I think there's something there about, you know, how do you re-engage current fans when you do a re-release. You know, if you're just re-releasing the exact same thing out on a different platform, you probably will get some new players, and you know, people are going to be excited to try it out. But I think what's really great with what I've seen with Paradise Killer is, like, I can't wait to go back. You know, I've played it through all the way. I really loved it, and now I'm like, okay, they've added loads of new content, like I have to go back. And I'm even thinking of, like, hey, what if they bring it out on Switch? I'll probably get it on Switch. But it'd be really interesting to see, you know, how much of an overlap, if there's any kind of statistics out there about overlap for people who own games on multiple platforms. Dan said in the chat, you know, it has between 200 and 500,000 owners on Steam. It'd be really interesting to see, you know, how many of those will actually pick up a mobile as well. You know, do they just really love the game and they want to be able to play it in other places? Because that really, really engaged audience is one of, you know, it is one of your core audiences, and if you can get them engaged across the board, you can definitely, you know, make a lot of money, make a great community.
Lots of great options, tips and thoughts there, Tyre. Thank you for running us through them. Thanks for stepping in and for reading off from Ben J's crib sheet. Thanks also to Ben for doing the legwork of putting that stuff together in the first place. We appreciate it. And yeah, classic Etch Play Weekly live show. Wouldn't be one without a few technical issues. So thanks to you at home as well for sticking with us and watching the whole thing. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If not, keep it to yourself. Don't tell us. But if you did like it, you can find us on Twitter and on LinkedIn. You can let us know what you thought, and you can follow us here on Twitch if you're watching us live. It's a purple button down there somewhere. Press it now. And all of our shows, plus loads more, end up on YouTube as well, where you can subscribe to get all the video content from Etch Play in all its various forms. Our Elden Ring video we played today, that's actually just a clip of a longer video. We spent more time in Elden Ring, fought a dragon, didn't go that well. If you want to watch the full thing, you can find that right now at youtube.com/etchplay. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you very soon. Bye.
Take care.